Self check-in is a really interesting feature in your events, and it gives you a lot of power on how you manage them. How it works differs ever so slightly for in-person physical events to how it works for virtual events or sessions. For a physical event, what we mean by self check-in is basically, do you want the student to self-certify that yes, they showed up to this particular session? It's particularly useful if you don't have the resource to scan people in, or people standing at the door taking attendances and marking them off as attended. So you can, for instance, text students saying, hey, go to your RSVP page and check in right now. From a virtual event perspective, the self check in allows students to join sessions a couple of minutes ahead of time so that they're ready, the stream's engaged and is going. And when they do choose to join a session with a self check in time, it's going to mark them as attended in the overall session. So here are two different RSVP pages to illustrate that, and we're then going to go through how this is set up on your event if you're interested. Of course, this is a physical campus event, not only as the name implies, but because there's a QR code ready for us to scan. But again, we're not going to be using the scanning today because we don't happen to have the resource to have the team scanning people in for this particular session. What we've done though is to enable self-check-in. The student can now say, yep, I'm checking into this event, and that's done immediately. It's marked as attended not only in the session but in the overall event, because of course if I attend a session I must have attended the overall event too. I'm still marked as registered, however, in my other session, which hasn't quite opened yet. From a virtual event perspective, if self-check-in is enabled, as we talked about a few moments ago, it's going to allow them to join the session usually a couple of minutes before the stream is due to start. If they click join now, it's going to redirect them to the hosted stream if they're using, or if you're using a third-party link, what's going to happen is it will mark them as attended in the overall event. In terms of setting this up, it differs ever so slightly depending on whether or not you're using a single event or a session-based event. Both are very simple though. For a single event, go to attendee options. Sorry, no, that's not right. Go to locations and go to allow check-in by time, and tell Gecko how many minutes before the event is due to begin that you would like students to be able to self-certify that they're there. For a session-based event, you do exactly the same, but you do this on the session level. So we would say for session B, for example, and on the locations tab, we want to allow people to check in for this session maybe 10 minutes before it's due to begin.